Hi everyone, welcome to Just a Gearhead. So last Saturday, after I did a little maintenance on the daily driver, the weather turned into this. Alright, so it's April 10th. This morning I was changing tires on my daily driver and playing with the Ranchero. And now this afternoon, it looks like this. Welcome to springtime in Canada. A week later, and yeah, it's nice and sunny out. All the snow's gone again, and it's going to get up to be probably like 15 degrees Celsius, which is actually pretty decent for this time of year. It's springtime in Canada, you know, one day it's snowing, the next day it's nice and sunny. So yeah, but today I think what we're going to start on is the quarter panels on the Ranchero. So yeah, I think today we'll get the back bumper, the taillights off, and start cutting up these quarter panels, getting them off. And we'll have to get the reflectors. This one, the other one's just the mount for the reflector, but this one's still got the reflector on this side. So we're gonna have to figure out how to get that off. Probably not going to put that back on once I do the quarter panels. I don't really like the way it looks, and it's not an actual signal light; it's just a reflector. So yeah, we'll probably eliminate those. Taking the tail lights off is pretty easy. It's just a handful of bolts, or screws. I don't even have the top two in this one, so that'll come off pretty easy. And the bumper, I think it's just 4 bolts have to come undone. So under here, I think it's just these 2 nuts and pulling the bolts out that they connect to. We'll get this bumper loose. So the only thing I can see that's holding it on is those 2 on each side, so it should be just 4 of them. But yeah, we'll get started. Do the taillights first because they're nice and easy. Okay, that was a lot more effort than I was expecting, but the bumper is off and I only broke one. So yeah, now we'll go get the new quarter panel, hold it up against the car, and see if she's going to fit. Alright, I don't know if you can, how well you can see from there. I cut the little flange bit off of that end, but it's, I don't know, it's not right, lining up quite right. Like I checked online, and the opening that's on here, is it correct? But this opening is closer to what's correct. But if I push this back toward this, it looks like it should line up. I got this big gap here, and I don't think that's right. So I think I'm going to have to do is modify these a little bit. I'm probably going to end up having to cut them closer to the center of the wheel well, so I can shift it over a little bit. And we'll try to keep a little bit of this flange back here, I think, too. Try to keep as much of the panel as I can. This part back here, you can see that, but this part back here, since it's meant for the car, not the Ranchero, it's meant for like a Galaxy or a Torino or something, the molding on here is not quite right, so I'm going to have to play around with that. Alright, well this explains why this wheel well wasn't quite the right shape. They used some sort of, I don't know, some sort of repair piece here. Okay, it's the bright stuff that's supposed to be in there. So I cut it further back, give myself some area to blend and work with. I have to pull some of this junk off. I will have to make a new piece here and here, but I think I'll mock up, probably cut it off, and then once I get kind of mock up the new quarter panel and see where it needs to fit. I left myself a little bit of here, but yeah, there's a lot of Bondo in here, so I think, and the new panel should come up above this line. This is going to be a little bit fun here probably. Oh, sorry. The new panel should come up above this line here, and yeah, what I was saying is this here might be a little bit of fun to play with the gas cap in it. But yeah, there's a fair amount of Bondo in there. So maybe I'll get out the flapper wheel and clean some of that off. So I started off with taking the flapper wheel to it. And I got to the spot where it was cracked, so I just took a screwdriver and then started prying on it. And yeah, whoever did the body work on this before was a bit of a Bondo artist. I really liked his filler. There must have been a dent here at one point, because you can see there's some holes where they drilled through and tried to pull the dent out. So we'll have to play with that a bit. And yeah, there's some places here where it's quite thick, like around the gas cap and whatnot, it's quite thick. So, yeah, this will be a fun one. Finally got the majority of the Bondo out, at least in the areas where I'm working. Right in here, you can see there was a dent or something before. They drilled holes and pulled it out. They didn't weld up the holes, they just packed them full of filler, which is why water got down and the filler cracked. Right in here, where it's still very indented, there had to be like half an inch of freaking filler right there. This will get cut off. So, and you can kind of see here that someone had a patch panel here, and then they used some random stuff from the hardware store, almost looks like, to create the arch. Now to get the panel to fit, I'm going to have to trim that end down there. All that little flanging off that goes typically behind the taillight on a Galaxy, I think, what this panel's for. Anyways, it's on the Galaxy, Torino, whatever this is for, that at least goes behind the taillight. So I'm going to have to trim it so that it'll line up beside the taillight here. So yeah. But yeah, I'll start getting that mocked up. Ooh, that was a lot of work. So, got it kind of up in a couple of clamps. So, like I said before, I keep saying, is this panel is not for a Ranchero, it's for Galaxy, so it's a little different. And whoever did some body work on here before did some creative stuff. So the wheel arch is, although this line here is actually closer to correct, they added in this. You can see this piece here and this piece here. When I had this off, there's a weld line here. You can see they added in this piece, and they created this with this flexible piece of trim metal or whatever. So that's wrong. This is actually closer to correct. I did have to hammer this edge a little flatter because on the Galaxy or Torino, whatever this is off of, curves in a little bit more. So I probably have to do a tiny bit more to that to get this hit a little flatter. Gotta still trim around the gas cap area. And the biggest problem is I trimmed this right where the corner was for where it rolls around for the taillights and that on the sedan or whatever. I must say Galaxy. Anyways, so if you trim that off, this was rusted all the way up to here. Like there's just garbage in here. So that's going to have to get a filler strip. And down here, this panel, here we go. This panel curves up more than the other panel. And so what I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to notch this off and create a filler piece to cover from here all the way down to here. It won't be exactly correct, but it'll be close enough for me. You know, since you can't get actual quarter panels for a Ranchero, because I looked for weeks online, I couldn't find any that were specific only for a Ranchero. These were the only pair that I could find that were even the right length. And like I took a little bit off the front here because I could have went a little bit further around that wheel well farther. But yeah, it was, I was trying to fight with it back and forth. So when I do the other side now, I'll know to leave a little bit more over there if I can, and to definitely that's going to have to come out. So, and then I have to flatten that bevel or that body line a little bit. It's a little bit hard to tell exactly how much I have to flatten it because that's bent. The whole body lines are bent, so it's going to be a bit of work. But yeah, that's how far I've gotten. So I'm going to do a little bit more trimming and bending, and then we'll probably put a couple of tacks in it, and then maybe start the other side or something. I don't know. It's already been a long day. Got a few tack welds just holding it in place. Behind there, the inner quarter, I guess. I still have to do that, but I needed to have this on so I can measure or make a piece that fit in there, and I can always get it from underneath. It's a little bit of pain in the butt, but I can do it that way. I do still have to make that filler piece, and when I do the final weld, I'll run the a cutting disc along as I go, so it won't be double layered. Right now it's got 2 layers right above the body line, but when I actually do the welding, I'll run the grinder with a cutting wheel along the top there, the zip disc or whatever I call it, death wheel. We'll run that along there and cut that out so that it's just 1 layer. But yeah, I think maybe we'll start on the other side, but I don't know, see how far I get. Alright, so here's the passenger side tacked in place. I will be making some blending in that corner down there, the old corner and the new corner. Like I said, this panel, I keep saying, isn't quite the right one, so I gotta make some modifications. So those two will get blended together. This side wasn't quite as rusty along here, so I could get a better connection there. And like I said, I will be doing the whole run a zip along and weld as I go, so I can take out the piece of metal that's behind it. It'll be a flush finish. But I may or may not show that because that's a lot of boring welding stuff. This is interesting. So ignore my crappy weld at the moment. I will be fixing this, but if you notice, this is 3/8 quarter inch, or no, almost ½ inch lower than this. Well, whoever did this patch that you can see here, there's a patch in here that goes over that way somewhere. Whoever put this patch piece in didn't measure, or didn't measure correctly, because I measured on the other side and this is correct. This is ½ an inch longer than on the other side, so I'm going to have to get a little creative here. I may have to go buy another piece, or I may have to cut this and slide it up or something. We will figure that out in the future, and we'll clean up all this welds in the future as well. But for today, actually, before I let you guys go, this is something I wanted to show you guys. I don't know if you can put this whole thing in one shot. There we go. So this was the passenger side quarter panel. It is made up of 1, 2, 3, 4 at least patch panels, and foam and a Bondo, and weighs probably a good 20 pounds. Like seriously, there's a ton of Bondo in this thing. But anyways, yeah, I just figured I'd give you guys a look at that. Alright, so I think that's where we'll leave this episode of Just the Gearhead. As you can see, I'm covered in dust, and so is my garage. I should have left the garage door down, but everything here is just covered in dust and a mess. So I'm going to do a little bit of a cleanup, and yeah, call it a day. So, thanks for watching. Please comment, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. If you want t-shirts or other merchandise, please check out the link in my description to my Redbubble page. Anybody who has liked, commented, and subscribed in the past, thank you very much. And if you've bought merchandise in the past, I thank you again. And you guys have a good day, and we'll see you next time.